Hello friends, it's Stacy. I thought I'd jump on here real quick and teach you all a new stitch today. You might be up for a new challenge and something new and different. So I'm going to show you how to moss stitch today. This is also called linen stitch and granite stitch. So there may be some other names out there as well, but those are the three that I'm aware of, the three most common names of this particular stitch. And if you can single crochet and chain, you can do this stitch. It's very, very simple. It has great texture. It looks way more complicated than it actually is to do. And it's one of my favorites. It's great for if you're sitting binge watching something, because once you get in a good groove, it's pretty mindless. You don't have to think too hard about your hook placement or anything like that. So let's get started. Get a slip knot on your hook, however you choose to do that. And then chain an even number of chains. So I'm going to do 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then in the fourth chain from the hook, remember this doesn't count as anything. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and into that fourth chain, make a single crochet. Then chain 1. Then you're going to skip this next chain, and in the following chain, make another single crochet. Then chain 1. Skip this next chain, in the following chain, single crochet, chain 1, and you're just going to keep doing this all the way down the line. Skipping a chain, go to the next chain and single crochet and chain 1. Skip, single crochet, chain 1, skip, and into this very last chain, you're going to single crochet. Then you're going to chain 2 and turn your work. Oh, having trouble today. Skip this first single crochet, and into this chain space, that big gap right there, this is underneath this chain that you made, you're going to make a single crochet. Then chain 1. Then you're going to skip this single crochet right here, and into this chain space, that big gap, you're going to single crochet and chain 1, skip this single crochet, and into the chain space right here, you're going to single crochet, chain 1, skip the single crochet into the chain space right here, single crochet, chain 1, skip this single crochet into the chain space, which is the gap right here. You're going to single crochet, chain 1, and now we're on our last stitch. So you're going to skip this single crochet right here, and the gap is actually between the turning chain. Remember when we were starting our first row, we skipped 3 chains and worked our first stitch into the fourth chain from the hook? Well, this is that turning chain. Those are those 3 that we skipped. So in between that last single crochet there and this turning chain, you're going to work your last single crochet. And then you're going to chain up 2 and turn your work again. And then that whole process starts all over. You see how simple this is? That's what I was saying as far as hook placement, as far as it being kind of mindless. I mean, you got that big gap that you're working in. So your chains are going to lay over the tops of your single crochets That's why you're chaining 2 here. You know, normally when you single crochet, you chain 1 to get the height. Well, you're chaining 1 to get the height, but then you're chaining another 1 so that it will lay over the top of the single crochet. So you're chaining over the single crochets and then single crocheting into the chain space. Chain over the single crochet, whoops, single crochet into the chain space. So that's why you have to chain 2 to get up, or to get your needed height, because it's not only the height, it's the chain over that single crochet. So let me start that one again. So chain 2 to get the needed height, plus that chain over your single crochet, and then you're going to single crochet into that big gap, into the chain space. Single crochet, chain 1, skip the single crochet, and then single crochet into that gap, into the chain space. Oops. Chain 1, skip this, single crochet into the chain space, chain 1, skip that next single crochet into the chain space. You see that gap, chain 1, skip the single crochet into the chain space, chain 1, and then we're to the last one again. So we're skipping the single crochet and we're single crocheting in between that last single crochet and the turning chain. So right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. When I kind of pull it apart, you can see that gap. So right here. Single crochet, and that finishes out your row. Chain up 2, turn your work, and then do it all again. And I'm just going to do this fast. I don't have a sample swatch pre-made, so, and this is a pretty small little swatch, so I can get through it pretty fast, I think. And then show you the results. Okay, so, and then to finish your work, like if this was my very last row, that's your last single crochet, then you would just act like you were going to chain 1. You could snip your yarn, and then rather than chaining, just pull that all the way through, just like you learned in the previous videos. So nothing new or different. I mean, that's pretty much always going to be the same no matter what you do. But look, isn't that so pretty? I love this stitch. It looks like little V's, and it just has great texture. This is a really good stitch to use with that really bulky yarn, like the Granite blanket yarn, and just really chunky yarns, because some stitches can be pretty tight, and as a result, those blankets that you make with those can feel really heavy. But this stitch is a pretty loose stitch, and is great for working with yarns like that, the really big, thick yarn. And like I said before, it just works up pretty easily and is pretty mindless and really relaxing to do. And it looks so pretty, and it looks complicated, and it just isn't. You guys know it's not complicated. This is incredibly beginner friendly. I mean, these are literally the first 2 things that you learn how to do in crochet, is to chain and single crochet. And so, so if you can do those 2 things, you've got this. You've got this. All right. One thing before I go, as far as weaving in stitches, remember when I was teaching you how to single crochet, we talked about, you're just going underneath the stitches, but then I said some stitches are looser and it's not a bad idea to go through the strand of yarn itself as well. Well, this is one of those stitches. So make sure as you're weaving back and forth to not only go through the stitch itself, but once in a while, just go through a strand of yarn, and that will ensure that all of your ends stay in place and your work won't fall apart on you, because you sure don't want that to happen after going to all the time and trouble of making something beautiful for that to happen. All right, I'm going to get off of here, and you guys have fun stitching. I hope you enjoy the stitch as much as I do. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.